Today, see how Automate playbooks are even easier to use with dynamic parameters and launching from dashboards.
Welcome back to Tanium Tech Talks. We are your hosts, Ashley McClone.
And Jesh Sachs.
1 year ago on this show, we demonstrated Tanium Automate for you, and based on the clicks we've seen, you loved it. And back then, we were just getting started.
And today we're here to show you what's new and improved. Please help us welcome Stephen back to the show. Stephen, go ahead and introduce yourself for those of us who haven't met you yet.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks, Ashley. It's really great to be back at the show. Very excited to continue to share the updates with Tanium Automate and how we're investing in the platform. Quick introduction. My name is Stephen Yang. I'm a Senior Director of Product Management here at Tanium, and I lead our platform experiences function. And today I'll be talking about the newest developments with Tanium Automate.
Well, Stephen, thanks for joining us again today. You're a popular guy. Not only have you been on this show a lot, but I've seen you at a lot of user groups, getting out there, talking about autonomous endpoint management, all these new features. So for those who haven't been in the loop, could you catch us up since the last time we spoke? Actually, for those who haven't seen it yet, what is Automate? Maybe we should start there and recap. We're gonna link those previous episodes in the show notes below. But for those who maybe haven't seen that, what is Automate? How does that fit in AEM? Just to set the stage first.
Yeah, absolutely, Ashley. So what Automate is, it's a native workflow orchestration and action automation platform that we built directly into the Tanium platform. And so it's taking advantage of all the great actionability, visibility functions that Tanium offers to allow our customers to create these playbooks or these consistent types of deployments for a whole wide variety of actions from endpoint management to security. We've seen a lot of creative use cases from our customers to manage their devices. And again, it all comes back to taking advantage of the Tanium core platform and all the different capabilities that we offer.
Stephen, I love that. Sounds like we're continuing to innovate with Automate too, being able to take these original pieces and make it even better. So let's talk about that. Where do you want to start with the demo?
So today, what I'm really excited to share is a couple of things. The first one is allowing you to kick off playbooks from reports and dashboards. And our reports and dashboards is something that our customers universally love, right? It takes all that information, that data that Tanium can uniquely gather and provides it in a very contextualized, informative, insightful form. And now we're going to make that visibility to actionability even easier with playbooks. So that's the first topic I'll be talking about. The couple of other topics are our integration with deploy. So as I mentioned before, Automate is built on top of the platform, and we're taking advantage of all the different solutions and capabilities that Tanium offers. And deploy is one of the really important pieces there, right? So allowing you to do software deployments within these Automate playbooks just continues to add to the robustness and abilities that these playbooks can offer. And then finally, I'm going to showcase parameterized playbooks. And so this is continuously investing in core automation. How do we make playbooks even more accessible, more easy to use, more flexible for our customers, where you might have different flavors of actions that you want to do, and you don't necessarily need to have to create multiple clones or copies of those playbooks now with parameterized playbooks. So with that, I'll jump into a couple of flows of how we can see the pivots from reports and dashboards to these playbooks. So I'm actually going to jump into one of the Guardian dashboards here. So this is one of the Guardian dashboards for the Windows 11 24H2 August 2025 cumulative update issue. So just for some context here, the issue with this update was that it caused the Windows update to fail with a certain error code. And part of that mitigation involves applying a known issue rollback registry value to impacted endpoints. So first of all, our Guardian dashboard provides all this wonderful information around this issue, how many endpoints are applicable and can apply this missing known issue rollback. We have additional details here. But imagine if I come in directly to these endpoints and I pivot to this report and I can fully understand how many applicable endpoints there are to this known issue. Now, when I click on this selection, I can see under the actions dropdown, start a playbook. So this aligns with providing more actionability from our reports and dashboards. So previously we had our platform package deployment. You can create a patch deployment. But now when I click start a playbook, it's actually going to bring to me all the different playbooks that are available in this environment. So we've actually created a playbook for this particular scenario, which is the Windows 11 24H2 August 2025 update remediation. And I can see a preview of the steps that are applied here, right? So the first one is applying the known issue rollback setting, which is going to be a platform deploy action, and then a reboot action to follow.
All right, I got to jump in here for a second. So I'm just thinking like classic Tanium, right? Classic Tanium. We can now use that term. So you used to get an interact query and check a box and deploy an action. So now what we're looking at is a whole new level of data available in reporting and dashboards. Check a box, and now it's not just a single Tanium, classic package. Now we're actually running multiple step operations that could be across multiple modules, all these steps. I'm just taking a moment to enjoy this for a second here because to see how far the platform has come and be able to do things like this, because so often in IT ops security, we know it's not just one thing that needs to happen on that box. Maybe you need to delete a file, set a registry value, install the patch, all those other things that goes with making the whole thing work. So I apologize for just interrupting, but this is just a great moment to watch. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And that's really how we're leaning into the AEM platform, right? So as much as possible, we want to take these data insights and lead you to actions, right? Whether those are recommended actions, whether there's playbooks. And to your point, Ashley, oftentimes it's not a single remediation action. There are multiple steps that you need to follow. And that's really where playbooks and the rest of the platform will shine for you. From here, I can actually go into review playbook. And what's really neat is however I had defined the playbook definitions and the configuration, what it's actually going to do here is apply this limiting group to this playbook. And what that means is it will scope it down to the exact endpoints that I targeted from the report. So, even if I had said I wanted to apply this to all endpoints for some reason, it's going to make sure that I actually don't expand scope and it retains that same targeting criteria that applied from that report there. And as easy as just clicking start, I can go and deploy this playbook. And so that's really, we're trying to make this as easy as possible from the Guardian dashboard, the insights of what's most critical information that we should provide to you, understanding the details of the endpoints affected, and then go and click a remediation action playbook.
I love this too because so often our admins have something that they know how to do or they know needs to be done, and everyone knows there's 10 different steps to do it. And so between Guardian and Automate, we're helping them say, okay, here's your 10 different steps. We've already figured out how to do this in Tanium. Just click go. And that go doesn't just do one thing, it does this whole string. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about the parameterization that's happening here because well, we start with an early release of these components and now, previously you would had to specify exactly which computer groups or computers. Now it's dynamic, which gives you a whole new level of applicability.
And one of the neat things I wanted to highlight here as well is when I go and select a playbook, it shows me all the different playbooks that are in this environment. So in this particular case, we had a specific playbook that we wanted to apply, but sometimes, you may not know which playbook is applicable, or you want to select from a multiple different types of playbooks based on the situation. And this view just gives you the discoverability of all those different applicable playbooks that you may want to use. So very excited about this capability and very excited to see customers use this.
All right, I got to make a public service announcement about RBAC here. You said this is all the playbooks in the environment. Please tell me that that's an RBAC view of playbooks.
Absolutely. So all the playbooks and the targeting, those all respect your RBAC permissions, your management rights. There's never going to be an escalation of privilege here as well.
So we looked at the Guardian dashboard, and you were telling me that there's something else here that's happening with a new module that's now in scope.
Let's jump back to the full Automates page. One of the very exciting things that I want to talk about today is our integration with the deploy step. Previously, we had integrated the patch deployment step within Automate playbooks, and so that allows you to do patching with a whole host of other types of activities. And we see a lot of customers seeing success with SQL cluster patching. I believe there's a recording and video that Ashley and Jesh that you have done with the team there. And so we've seen a lot of great success there. But with deploy, this is something that a lot of our customers have been asking for is I have certain types of use cases where I need to involve software deployment in a playbook sequence, right? It's not as straightforward as just pushing out an update or install. There are different types of parameters and procedures that it must do. So one example that I wanted to share here is one use case is a customer needs to have proper user accounts to be logged in during install. The software doesn't allow specifying a user during install, so the user must be logged in. And so what we're doing here in this playbook example is actually setting up auto login to the correct domain user, setting the default name, setting the default username and passwords, then applying a reboot, which allows the auto login to apply with the correct user. Then we're actually going to do the software installation. So this is the big reveal here. Then we're going to turn off the automatic login as part of that playbook sequence. Right, so let me just jump into this step here, an example. So similar to our patch step, we brought in the same configurations and options that you can do in software deployment within deploy directly into Automate playbooks so that you don't have to jump between different places. Everything is consolidated into the single automation workflow, right? So the same thing as picking the packages, the targeting, deployment types and schedules, all those options become available to you within this playbook.
I want to highlight this. So up until now, we've had our core platform actions and a patching capability. So this is brand new. This is this little step that's here. This is brand new. Any deployment that I haven't deployed, I can do that same thing here using this step. Is that right?
Absolutely.
That is amazing. Especially I've heard so much from people who want to deploy, reboot that whole string of events. And that was historically kind of a tough nut to crack. So this is awesome. I love this. All right, carry on.
Absolutely. And thank you, Jeff, for pointing this out because to your point, it does look like one small step, but it is a big leap for Tanium Automate.
All right, so and I gotta jump in here too because I'm wondering about this whole use case. All right, now I know this is just an example, but you're setting auto login. That's a bit chancy, right? On a Windows box, plugging those values in there. So how does this work in the use? So you're doing that to get the user context for the app install. That's what's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah, so this has been something that is it's a unique situation for some customers that I've been working with where they need to have the proper user account logged in during install. And so they want it to be effectively a one-time thing that they can run with this playbook, be logged into that user, apply the software installation, then remove the auto login through this playbook, and then doing a reboot, right? So definitely a unique situation and different use case, but this just highlights some of the creative natures that our customers are using playbooks for.
Exactly. That I mean, I have maintained from the beginning. Tanium is an extensible platform, and it formerly that required writing VB script or PowerShell or Python and putting it in a classic package, right? But now with this, it's a lot more accessible. Yeah, great story.
And let me actually jump in here to better visualize how you add these steps, right? So once again, for those that may have not seen Automate before, you can very easily change the ordering of these steps and apply different steps in between. But I'll jump in here to our step library, and this is where you can see all the different options for actions that you can do within playbooks. We have our platform actions that Jesse mentioned for platform packages. Previously, we had the install patch that's still there. And here's the new step, deploy software, right? So I can add that in here. Um, and you'll see the same options that I previously mentioned. You can apply deployment templates, deployment details. Those are all available as options within the step here. So it's, again, very easy to plug and play within Automate. Now, what's really exciting is you might have noticed this additional field on these steps called add parameter. And so this is really solving a pain point that we've heard from our customers where, let's say in this particular example, they want to deploy software. And the specific piece of software that they're deploying in the same process, they want to apply to tens, maybe hundreds of different types of scenarios and use cases. Now, previously, you would need to have, clone the playbook and make that slight modification. That's absolutely a perfect way to do it. But with parameterization, we make that a lot simpler. So let's go back to this example where I want to deploy software. I can flip on add parameter. And so what this means, it's going to parameterize the package that I'm going to use. And so I'm going to call it software to install. What that means is after I say this playbook, when I run this playbook, it's actually going to allow me to review and designate if I want to change the package I want to install or use this default parameter. So let me save here and go and kick it off. So what you'll notice is when I click Start Playbook, I can now review the playbook parameters. It provides me the full context of what the playbook is doing, all the previous steps and the steps afterwards. But you can see this highlighted here where it says Review Parameters, which denotes that there's something that I can actually go and modify. Of course, there's a default parameter that I can use. When I go and click Review Parameter, I have this very simple and easy option to say, maybe I don't want to do Google Chrome. Maybe I want to select some other software package here, right? Maybe that looks like um, let's just do 7-zip for the sake of ease. I click apply, that gets updated, and now I can run this playbook with the new updated parameter. And I don't have to create multiple playbooks for different types of software I want to install. I only have that single playbook now. One of the things I want to call out is parameters are also supported through our API. So if you're using Automate playbooks through the API, that same ability allows you to define parameters through that method as well.
Amazing. And just because you showed it on the new step, I have to ask, so are parameters just for deploy options, or can we do those in any of these steps?
Yeah, great question. It actually applies to all the different fields on the
Hmm.
step. So whether that is the package, right? Whether that is the targeting, the step duration, the condition to start next step, all of them have the ability to add these parameters. And so we wanted to build in the flexibility here to all the different steps.
So this is really customizable.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
We were thinking the same thing, Josh. Because I'm thinking, wait a minute. Okay, I think when I heard parameterized playbooks, I thought that's dynamic targeting, but it's more than that. Like literally anything in here can be parameterized, which that's like a really meta way to think about these parameters. Wow, I mean, that just makes so many possibilities. Yeah.
And again, this leans into what we previously talked about, the extensible platform. We want to give folks the control to, address all the different use cases that they might have. And so beyond just targeting, we often heard, I wanted to change the software package. Sometimes I care about what the condition is to start the next step. Sometimes I don't. And so again, providing optionality, providing these advanced controls, while trying to make this as easy to use as possible.
Yeah. Wow. Like talk about opposing design requirements. Make this super flexible and easy to use at the same time. But it looks like you pulled it off. Wow.
A huge credit to our fantastic design team. It's always a balance of giving those advanced controls, but making sure that we don't overwhelm with too many different types of knobs and turns on our pages. So huge kudos to our design team for that as well.
Well, we've seen so many good things here today. Parameterized playbooks, the new deploy steps, be able to pivot from dashboards, our Guardian dashboards. I know we have Converge coming up, and oftentimes when we have fun new toys to play with, we get to play with them at Converge during our labs. So can you share anything about potential Converge labs that may be in the works where people could get their hands on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a number of different types of Automate playbook labs that are taking place at Converge this year. I know just off the top of my head, some of them for that are leaning into using it for API gateway. So I think that's going to be a really exciting one is seeing how customers, but also best practices around using Automate playbooks through the API, because that's really going to help with the extensibility nature of the platform, being able to plug into different business processes and third-party systems. And I'm really excited to see how customers and in those lab environments, you can take advantage of these new features and functionalities because we're continuously investing in these capabilities and making sure that the core platform automation becomes more robust and more valuable to you to address all these different use cases that come to mind.
As always, we have a lot more resources linked below for your reference, docs, episodes, all the fun stuff. as we've been mentioning, also a free Converge Pass promo code. That way you can get out there, maybe enroll in some labs, learn some new things, talk to some Tanium users, meet us. But we hope to meet you there.
Wow, Stephen, Jess, I mean, I don't know about you, but my head is exploding with all these permutations of all the things that are possible now. It's like we got the first, we're building the Lego blocks of autonomous endpoint management. This is one of those with Automate, and this Lego block, you can change the colors and the number of the little dimples on it and all that, and you can make it fit anything. That's that's crazy. So like Jess said, folks, would love to meet you at Converge, and we'd love to get you to meet Stephen and get your hands on these labs. It's going to be amazing. So Stephen, again, thank you for this tour today. And until next time,
Go Tanium.